Manx Radio Sport.
Just gone 2.5 minutes after 5 o'clock here on Manx Radio AM 1368 and Manx Radio Digital. Welcome along to Saturday Sport Classified for Saturday the 6th of January, and we'll start off with the classified results and begin with football in the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round. The game between Maloo and St Mary's was postponed. Pulrose 0, Laxey 15, Braddon 2, Peel 3, Onchan 3, Ramsey 5, St John's 2, Ramsey Youth Centre Old Boys 0. Douglas and District against Foxdale was also postponed, as was Marown against Castletown, and we are awaiting a result for Governors Athletic against Michael. Gyms 2, Colby 3. We will have the draw for the first round of the ECAP FA Cup coming up a bit later in the programme. Moving on to Canada Life Men's Premier League, Ayr 1, Corinthians 2. Douglas Royal 4, St George's 0. In the Canada Life Combination 1, Corinthians 3, Peel 1. The game between Ramsey and Ayr was postponed. And also in Combination 1, Russian 3, Union Mills 0, St Mary's 8, Douglas Royal 1. Moving on to DPS Limited Combination 2, the games between Foxdale and Gyms and Douglas Athletic against Douglas High School Old Boys were postponed. Ramsey Youth Centre 3, Colby 4, and we're awaiting a result for Castletown against Maloo. I know we've had issues with the data and mobile usage today, but 166 177 is the text number if you can send us any of those missing scores. Possibly also, if you're at home on your Wi-Fi, you might be able to get in touch via WhatsApp 07624 166 177 if you can fill in any of those missing scores we've got. Moving on to rugby. In the Regional 2 Northwest, Douglas 27, Vale of Loon 13. In the counties 4, ADM, Lancs and Cheshire, Vagabonds 19, Ellesmere Port 30. And in the Ravenscroft Manx Shield, Western Vikings against Ramsey was postponed, as was PDMS Southern Nomads against Barbarians. That was also postponed. We will be catching up with Dave Christian a little bit later on in the programme as well to get a full review of the rugby action. In hockey, the opening day of the men's and ladies divisions today, the Backers B in the men's division, Backers B 1, Castletown A2. Vikings A3, Backers A2, Harlequins A2, Valkyries A2, and in the Ladies Premier Division, Harlequins A0, Vikings A3, Castletown A0, Valkyries A3, Backers A3, Castletown B0. In the Men's Division 1, Harlequins B0, Vikings C1, Vikings B4, Castletown B1, Valkyries B3, Ramsey A0, and in Ladies Division 1, Backers B4, Backers C1, Valkyries B1, Castletown C1, and we're awaiting a result for Vikings B against Ramsey A. And in Men's Division 2, Ramsey B4, Valkyries C4, awaiting a result for Backers Colts against Backers D. Ladies Division 2, Valkyries C1, Castletown D5. Again, awaiting results for Castletown E against Vikings C and Ramsey B against Harlequins B. And in the mixed under-15s league, Harlequins 7, Vikings 0. And the Castletown Sabres against Backers, that game pushed back at 4:30, so we don't understand we have a result for that game yet. So first things first, let's move on to football and look back at the day of the FA Cup kicked off for the 23-24 season. Tony Mepham, good game for you, plenty of action. I know you got cut off mid-flow, didn't you? A couple of big moments today, and the 4G just crashed and said, no, we don't want people to hear about this.
It always happens. It all started from around playing fields first because we travelled down there, but the officials had a look at the pitch and said it was unsafe. I'll be neutral here. I walked the pitch and that top corner was slushy, there's no doubt about it. So it goes down to the referee's decision, and the referees thought it was dangerous, and they said that the game couldn't go ahead. Both clubs were there, both clubs wanted to play, but at the end of the day, it's the officials, and I believe there was 3 there. Mark Thomas, very experienced, Matty Shaw, very experienced, and Janine Ann Doyle as well, who all made the decision together. So that's why it was off. 1 or 2 sort of text messages coming in, what we can get in, just explaining the situation. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and it was touch and go, and it's just been postponed. It'll be rearranged next week. But then we travelled up road, where Braddon and Peel had the sense to sort of see that the weather was closing in the week, and Braddon gave up home advantage and played this one at Peel. And certainly there was a big sort of surprise for everyone in Stall, because it was quite a tight game, and Peel took the lead through Dan Pickering. Good header after a ball in from Lee Gale, and 1-0 it was. But then just about 10 minutes before half-time, Braddon were awarded a penalty. It was due to a handball, and I asked the official the reason why he gave it. He said the ball came into the centre-back, hit him on his chest, came down to his hand, and then it went to the goalkeeper. So, handball, a penalty was awarded, and they scored the penalty. But in the meantime, just before, I think it was, Luke Doherty sort of passed a comment to the referee about a decision, I would think, and he got red carded. And then after the penalty was taken and scored by Dan Kinraid, the goalkeeper then passed a comment, and he was given a red card. So for 10 minutes of that remaining part of the first half, they only had 9 players, but then they changed things around. It was a good move really by Peel. Tom Brown went in up front, and Tom pulled one back. So it was looking good then, 2-1-2 Peel. And Peel, obviously, with only 9 players, it was really tough going for them. But Braddon were awarded another penalty. It was a penalty, clear cut, pushing the back to the Braddon forward. And Dan was there, Kinraid, to score second. And then it was Tom Brown who got his second of the game also in that second period to make it Braddon 2, Peel 3. And well done to Peel for working so hard in that second half to close Braddon out, because I thought the first 5 minutes, Simon, it was going to go all to Peel because it looked so strong, even though they were down to 9. But Braddon kept chipping away, and unfortunately they couldn't get the goal to put them into maybe extra time, and Braddon go through in the draw tonight.
And big result at Pull Rose, or big result for Laxey, 15-0. Victory for them.
Yeah, and when you look at the league tables, Pull Rose are bottom of Div 2, Laxey are flying in the Premier League now, and Jordan Cooper, he does miss a few games through injury, but he played well today. He got 6 of the goals. Tommy Kenny got 2. Greg Kelly got a couple of goals, an own goal. Dave Reynolds, Adam Meelan, Tom Cowan and Joe Walters completed the scoring. So as you say, Pull Rose 0, Laxey 15.
We're just trying to, I've got a whole influx of text messages that have just come in here in all sorts of orders and things, but there's one that stands out, which is sort of half a text message. I believe Michael won that FA Cup game. We're waiting on the results on. I believe Michael won in extra time. Played 60 minutes with 10 men, apparently, but I haven't got a score there. So I'm just trying to piece these bits and pieces of information that are coming through now. The text messages are working again, so if someone could just send through that score to 166 177, that's the ECAP FA Cup game between Goodlanders Athletic and Michael, that would be great, because that's the one we're missing there. The game, Rob, was at Onchan 3, Ramsey 5.
Got the score as well, and I've got here, it says, I think it's Governors 4, Michael 5, but we'll get that one checked because we just need confirmation on that.
Okay, so Onchan 3, Ramsey 5 as well. The game Rob was at for us this afternoon.
Yeah, I spoke to Rob before about this game, and it's 2-1 at half time, nice and tight. Tom Creer with a couple of goals, Adam McCulloch with 1. Harry Blissett got 2 goals for Ramsey. Darren Hudson got 1. Graham Kennish got a goal, and Alfie Scott as well. I think Alfie's only 17 years of age, so well done, Alfie. Probably the talking point on this is quite a nasty injury. Looks like it to one of the Onchan players. It's probably quite common knowledge out there who it is at the moment, so we'll refrain from saying the player's name. But 3 ambulances were called round to deal with it, and the game was stopped for quite a while, but then it started. So good luck to the player that's injured. Hopefully it's not too serious, but it does look as if there may be a problem here for it, but we don't want to sort of get it. We've got messages in, but it's not been clear because of what's been going on with the internet and everything.
Okay, elsewhere in the FA Cup, St John's 2, Ramsey Youth Centre 0. Prior results St John's would have expected to get. Yeah,
I agree with you, Simon, because today new signing Luke Murray, he got 1 for St John's. Good luck with your new chosen club, Luke. No hard feelings from me, but no, he's a great player, and he's another player who's suffered with problems, and he's back in playing, and it's the main thing to get him playing football. Dean Lease got 1 goal as well, and also Dino, I think you missed a penalty as well, but it didn't affect your mates, so it doesn't matter. St John's go through. St John's 2, Ramsey Youth Centre 0, boys nil.
And I've just had another text in there. Michael 5, Gunners Athletic 4 after extra time. Another tight game, Gyms 2, Colby 3 as well. Yeah,
and we're just waiting for the Gyms goal scorers. If you could, you might be able to get through to us now. 166 177. We do have the 3 Colby goal scorers, and that's Paul Whitley. He got all 3, so great day there for Paul.
And moving on, then we'll do the draw for the ECAP FA Cup first round very shortly, but quickly at the 2 games we had in Canada Life Men's Premier League. Ayr couldn't follow on their success of Boxing Day in the Railway Cup final, but a great win for Corinthians.
Absolutely superb result. I know it's my club, but they've been sort of struggling of late to get some goals, and today outstanding performance right the way through, and it was Corinthians who took the lead. Josh Ridings with the first goal, then Sean Kelly equalised, and Josh Ridings got the winner in the second half, so that's Ayr's first defeat this season. And Corinthians, hopefully the young lads there can bounce back, because very difficult this transition. Good young players who've played at junior level, Simon, and only know how to win, and then suddenly come into senior level, and it's hard going for them. But today, well done to all of you, and evidently João Marquez, who's a super player, and João's not that old, he's about 19, 20. João had a tremendous performance, so well done to everybody, and commiserations to Ayr.
And Douglas Roar, big win for them. Good 3 points on the board, against St George's, 4-0.
Yeah, it's a brilliant result. Geordies, don't know what sort of team they had out, but when you've got the calibre of player like Sam Baines coming back in, he got 1 for Douglas Roar. Dominic McCarry-Brennan's got his shooting boots on now. He got a couple of goals, and a rare one, not too rays, the odd, maybe 2 a season or something. Simon Dooley, well done Simon, got the other one. Cracking result that for Douglas Roar.
And down in the Combi, just had a correction come through on the text. We said it was Russian 3, Union Mills, and it was actually Russian 8, Union Mills 0.
Right.
It was a full time. I've had it on the text there. Results standing out for you. I know we had a couple of postponements down in the Combi, but again, Corinthians with a good win against Peel.
Yeah, Corinthians beat Peel 3-1 it was. We had a 3-0. Nigel Moody rolling back the years. He got the 3 goals for Corinthians. Ramsey against Ayr was postponed. As you rightly say, Russian 8, Union Mills 0. I have the information on that, and it was 3-0 last one, but then everything went blank. But I know the 3 goal scorers. The first 3 was Luke Roberts, Jack Snidel got 1, and Ashley Blake. St Mary's 8, Douglas Royal 1. Haven't got their goal scorers through just yet. Yes, I have. It's just come through now. Well done, Anthony. Jamie Skillen got 3. Liam Bowley got 2. And Robert McGinn got his name on the score sheet. So there's 6 of the goal scorers for a start. Anyway, haven't got Douglas Royal's goal scorer.
And down in Combi 2, Foxdale James was postponed. Douglas Athletic against Douglas High School All Boys was postponed. Ramsey Youth Centre against Colby is the only result we've got, because we're awaiting Castletown against Maloo. But tight game, that sounds like 4-3 to Colby in the end.
Was a tight game. Haven't got Ramsey Youth Centre's goal scorers, but for Colby, it was Ethan Ludgate with 1. Harry Harrison got a goal as well. And Theo Kiagos, we think it is, with a couple of goals there for Colby to get them the 3 points.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. We will come to those draws we're going to do later on for the ECAP FA Cup first round, the GH Corlett Woods Cup preliminary round. We'll get to those a bit later on, but before we do that, just gone 5:15, let's head over to Dave Christian. And Dave joined us with a look back at today's rugby action. Good evening, Dave.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. Good day for Douglas, not so positive for Vagabonds. And definitely not so positive for the Ravenscroft Manx Shield, but I'll sweep that up at the end. Douglas climbed to 7th place in a Regional 2 Northwest with a 27-13 win against Vale of Loon. Elsewhere in the table was where all the action was, though, because as I'm flicking through the results now, Douglas's closest rivals at that bottom half of the table, Altrincham Kersal, Vale of Loon, Liverpool St Helens, and Winnington Park all lost this afternoon, and that means Douglas jump up 2 places in the table. They've got an away fixture against Whitchurch, who are in 8th place, 1 place down from Douglas. They go to Whitchurch, excuse me, in Shropshire. next Saturday, and another very winnable game for them. And Douglas's climb has been slow and steady, but they've accelerated a little bit since the start of December. They had those 2 great wins, couldn't have run up to Christmas. Another solid performance this afternoon, and they're looking nice and pretty in the table. 7th place, picked up 2 places today. And I think a win at Whitchurch next week could see them go 6th. Altrincham Kersal currently in 6th, but they have a tough fixture against Crewe and Nantwich next week. And Douglas could be looking at a top 5 finish, which wasn't looking quite so handy at the start of the season when they had a couple of close defeats. But fair play to Phil Kringle and his guys down there at Portersheet. They've dug in nice and deep. The players and the playing personnel haven't changed that much, but they really are starting to perform as a unit now, and that's a great result for them today, and plenty of breathing space now. They've got 12-point gap between them and the relegation zone, so things looking a lot more positive for Douglas, and a great way for them to start 2024. Vagabonds, however, wasn't so good for them. They had a great morale-boosting win just before Christmas, beating the league leaders Ashton-under-Lyne away from home as well. And it thought that perhaps with them sitting in 3rd place, they could maybe just kick on and get themselves in the frame for promotion. And they probably still are, but after today's results, you've got to fancy Ellesmere Port as well. 30 points to 19 it finished. A try, conversion and penalty from Ellesmere Port's left wing, Ryan Turner. And with the surname Turner, what nickname would you give the man? Hooch. So the lads all cheering on Hooch, and everybody loves a good rugby nickname, but had to smile at that one. Ryan Turner, great game for him. Try, penalty, conversion in the opening 10 minutes. That gave the visitors a 10-0 lead. Ben Simcox added another, which meant Vagabonds were trailing 15-0 after a quarter of an hour, and they never really recovered from that. Mitch Wells crashed one back for Vagabonds, but Turner's second and a try from Jack Ratliff just before half-time saw Ellesmere Port go around 25-5 lead at the interval. In the second half, Vaggers fumbled in attack, Ellesmere Port countered, and Turner picked up his hat-trick, and that made it 30 points to 5, and Vagabonds with a very, very big mountain to climb. They had a fair crack. Daniel Bonwick made a break down the right wing, earned Vagabonds a penalty inside the Ellesmere Port 22. That was tapped quickly. Cal Donnell smashed over from close range, and Cam Finlay converted that, 30 points to 12. And then just before the half hour, the Vaggers comeback continued. Bonwick himself scoring this one with a close range drive. Cam Finlay added the conversion, and with just over 10 minutes or so to go, Vagabonds trailing by 11 points. You thought they might just do it, but Ellesmere Port turned on the reserve fuel tank and just managed to hold out in the end. Another try for Vagabonds would have given them a bonus point, and possibly 2 bonus points if they finished within 7. And 2 scores could have made the difference there. 2 tries with the way Cam Finlay was kicking. They could easily have won the game, but it wasn't to be. 5 points for Ellesmere Port, nothing for Vagabonds. And Ellesmere Port at the top end of that table have 2 games in hand. And if they win those 2 in hand, they'll be right up there in the frame at the end of the season. And on today's performance, they thoroughly deserve it as well. And big hand up for Big hand up for Ryan Turner out there on the left wing. 3 tries, penalty and a conversion, 20 points for him, and a very, very good game. In the Manx Shield, things didn't quite go so positively. Western Vikings against Ramsey was due to take place at QE2. There was a late venue switch on that yesterday when it was moved up to Ramsey. But Vikings, despite their Cheshire Plate success this season, couldn't get a team out today, and that game was postponed quite late this morning, around about 10:30. The news came through. And the game at Southern Nomads and the Isle of Man Barbarians, unfortunately that was postponed, but that was due to no match officials being available. We only had 1 referee available this afternoon. That was Joe Phelan, and he was covering the Vagabonds Ellesmere Port game. So match officials, it's the first time we've had one this season, but they do happen from time to time. Hopefully everybody be raring to go next week. And I understand from Joe Phelan, who's rugby referee coordinator here in the Isle of Man, that he'll be able to cover next week's fixtures. So we're okay next week. It's a little blip, I think, and as I said, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally you have to swallow one, and that was today, Southern Nomads against the Barbarians.
Dave Christian, thank you very much, and glad we got to talk to you, because I thought we'd be struggling with the 4G issues we've had today, but thank you for coming on and joining us reviewing today's rugby action.
Manx Radio Sport.
Moving on to the draw for the ECAP FA Cup first round very shortly. Just one more result to bring you in DPS Limited Combination 2, Castletown 6, Maloo 0. Tony, another high-scoring game.
Yeah, and I've just got the scorers through, thanks to Castletown. Obviously, Stuff is getting through and not getting through. But Baby Driver Glover got 2 goals, Keen Cotton got 2, and Ben Shaw as well. So a good result that for Castletown.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. And to join us on the line from London, the sponsors of the FA Cup ECAP, and we are joined by, if the phones will decide to work and allow me to take them off hold, Brooke Longhurst, the Managing Director of ECAP. And I'll just try and bring that call back. Why is it not opening up for me? I tell you what we will do. We will do this, and we'll come back to Brooke in just a couple of minutes.
Chris Pearson, the Sunday Chill Out.
Every Sunday evening from 7 till 9, round off your weekend or your workend with Manx Radio's Sunday Chill Out Show.
The Sunday Chill Out.
Get in touch through the week by emailing chill@manxradio.com and then tune in to check the tunes each and every Sunday from 7. Manx Radio's Chill Out Show, tomorrow evening from 7.
OK, let's try that again. I think we can now be joined on the line by Brooke Longhurst, Managing Director of ECAP down in London. Good evening, Brooke.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Really good.
OK, so joining us tonight, you've got the draw for the ECAP FA Cup first round. It's been a great day's action, and we've eventually got all the results to come in. There were a couple of postponements today, so Tony, you'll do a bit of jiggery pokery on the fixtures to try and fit those games in. But Brooke, I believe you're down there. You've got the 16 balls in the bag ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go when you gents are.
OK, Tony, I'll hand over to you now as the aficionado of the draw. You know what you're doing. You've done this many a time.
Yeah, top man there, Brooke, and wish you and Dan Collier, your partner, the best for 24. I know you're coming over with your business to the Isle of Man, which is great. And also I've been asked by the office staff at the Isle of Man FA to thank you very much indeed, and probably on behalf of all the football clubs, for your kind sponsorship, because you not only do the FA Cup, you sponsor the Island men's team as well for the Island Games. So thank you very much to you and your Dan.
Our pleasure, absolute pleasure. And likewise, wishing you and all the team at the FA and on the radio the best for 2024.
Brilliant, thank you. Right, you've got 16 in the bag. I've got more than 16 teams, actually. I've got 19. I've got 3 either ors, so don't panic. You don't need the 19. So if you can put everyone out of their misery and do the draw for us for the ECAP FA Cup first round, please.
Absolutely no problem. So first out of the hat is number 10.
And number 10 is Michael.
And Michael will be playing number 12.
Is that number 12?
Yeah, number 12.
Yeah, number 12 is Ramsey.
Next out is 3.
Number 3 is a home tie for Corinthians.
And they'll be playing number 15.
And number 15 is St John's.
Number 9.
Number 9 is an either or. So it's a Marown or Castletown, and that game will be played next week, and they will play...
number 1.
Number 1 is not the league leaders, they're joint top, Ayr United.
Followed by number 8 in the draw.
Number 8 is an either or, and that's Maloo or St Mary's. That'll be played next week.
And they have drawn at number 7 at home.
Number 7 is Laxey.
Number 14.
Number 14 is St George's.
Versus number 5.
Number 5 is Douglas High School Old Boys.
Number 6.
Number 6 is a home game for Douglas Royal.
And they'll play number 2.
And number 2 is Colby.
Next out of the hat is number 11.
Number 11 is Peel.
Versus number 16.
Number 16 is Union Mills.
Lastly, number 13.
We've had 7, I think.
No, it's number 13.
13, sorry. Russian.
And the last in the hat, number 4.
And number 4 is Douglas and District or Foxdale. I'll read those through and then we'll recap over here. The first one out of the hat was Michael will have a home tie against Ramsey. Corinthians will play St John's. Moran or Castletown against Ayr. Maloo or St Mary's will play Laxey. St George's will play Douglas High School Old Boys. Douglas Royal against Colby. Peel will play Union Mills. And the final one is a home game for Rushen against Douglas and District or Foxdale. Brooke, how's the weather in London? It's been pretty rough over here for our sport. What's it like for your sport over there?
It's not been great, to be honest. It's dropped down a few degrees. It's freezing, it's raining, it's miserable. A proper January weather where you just want to hide indoors. So well done for all of the lads in getting out and playing today when they could.
Exactly, and thank you once again for everything you do for us in the Isle of Man football fraternity, and we wish you well and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your evening, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Brooke.
Cheers, Brooke. Thank
Bye.
you for joining us tonight. Okay, Tony, first initial reaction then to those fixtures for the ECAP FA Cup first round. What are your highlights in that draw?
Well, let's go through them from the top to bottom. Michael against Ramsey. You know, Michael are looking to see if they can get into the Premier League. They're doing well at the moment, but as Ramsey have shown today against tough opposition in Div 2, Onken, and I've had really good reports thanks to Steve Fox and also Jonathan Leese, who put information through. So, you know, Onken did really well, but you would expect Ramsey just to win that one, but it is the Cup, so it's all to play for. Corinthians against St John's. Corinthians, will remember a couple of weeks ago where they put, well, it's 4 weeks ago now, they played St John's up at Ballafletcher and got beaten. So Corinthians will take a lot from today's result. So at the moment, I'll leave myself open with that one because, you know, Corinthians have had a cracking result. St John's also have worked hard for the result today against Ramsey Youth Centre. Maloo or Castletown, or Castletown. I think Moran are going to give Castletown a real run for the money in that. So I think Moran might win that one. And then against Ayr United, well, Ayr United suffered defeat today. And sometimes, Simon, as you know, you see sport, a team can be, or an individual can be unbeaten for a long time, and then suddenly one comes and then the second one comes. So at the moment, you've got to go for Ayr. Maloo or St Mary's against Laxey, that's going to be a belter because you would expect St Mary's to beat Maloo looking at the two leagues. And Laxey are thick in the action at the moment, aren't they? Because they're scoring plenty of goals. And Jordan Cooper in fine form today with 6. St George's against Douglas High School Old Boys. Old Boys have improved from the start of the season. St George's will rely on what players are available for them, but at the moment you'd go for Old Boys. Douglas Royal against Colby. Douglas Royal are in fine form, so I'll go for Douglas Royal. Peel against Union Mills. I think the 2 players that they lost out on today will have finished their 3-game bans by then and back in there, but you go for Peel to win that. And Rushen against Douglas and District or Foxdale. I would expect Foxdale to sort of get the result against D&D and then against Rushen. Rushen have improved big time as well. That'd be a tight game, but I'd just go for Rushen.
Okay, Tony, and do you know the dates those fixtures will be played at the first round?
It's the first Saturday in March, so in February, sorry. So I think it's about the 4th, if I remember rightly, something like that. I tried to remember that before, but we're trying to get that Michael and Governor's score, and we had 2 sheets here. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but we got it over the line in the end.
We did, and just a reminder, there have been some issues with 4G and mobile services here on at the island this afternoon. There has been an update issued about 15 minutes ago to say that engineers have done an update. They've done some bits and pieces. Services are now being restored. There may still be some ad hoc issues, but we've seen that ourselves here with text messages coming through to phones and things, and through to the email inbox here, that things are slowly starting to get back to normal, which is quite nice to know that we've now got everything in. I know you're conscious, Tony, that you're going to need to get off to the FC Isle of Man game down at the Bowl. We'll hopefully catch up with Rob very shortly if all our equipment down there is working. Okay. We'll have a catch with Rob, get team news from there. But before you go, Tony, let's do the draw for the GH Corlett Woods Cup preliminary round. And Ben Cunningham, Ben, we will get to hockey eventually today. I promise you we will. You've got the bag. 12 numbers, I think we're looking for in this bag, isn't it, Tony, for this draw?
There's 12 in this one, yeah. Douglas Athletic don't have a first team, have a combination team. So, Ben, if you could, please.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Douglas High School Old Boys.
Number 7.
And they will play Gyms.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Onken.
Number 11.
And number 11 is Pulrose.
Number 1.
Number 1 is the league leaders, Castletown.
Number 5.
And they will play the team that's in second, Foxdale.
Number 6.
And the last one, Governors Athletic.
Against number 12.
Against number 12 is Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys. So the draw for the GH Corlett Woods Cup, which is the 20th of January, 1:15 kick-off, is Douglas High School Old Boys against Jims. Oncombe will play Pulrose. Castletown at home against Foxdale, and Governors Athletic at home against Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys.
All right, Tony, thank you very much for that. I will let you get off to the bowl now. FC Isle of Man and actually against Charnock Richard this evening, 6 o'clock kickoff. Hopefully getting team news from Rob Pritchard very shortly. But have a good evening down there tonight, Tony.
Manx Radio Sport.
Okay then, and we move on to hockey. Ben Cunningham joining me in the studio, and opening day today, Ben, for you in the men's and ladies leagues, and you've just moved microphone there, so I'm just going to see you on this one now.
I'm on this one.
That one, there we go. Right, okay. But both reigning champions suffering opening day defeats. That's the big headline for you from today's action.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. The champions in the Men's Premier League and the Ladies Premier League have all suffered opening day defeats. So, yeah, we'll go through the scores and show what's happened.
So let's, we are still, I think we've got a full house for everything that should have finished.
We
now.
have
So
got
just
a full house
now.
now,
The 4:30 pushback we're missing, but obviously that will come in due course. So let's start off in the Men's Premier League. Backers B1, Castletown A2.
Yeah, really close game, and I had a feeling it was going to be a close one. Castletown just edging it. Ned McGregor and Matty Gorn for Gorey with goals each for Castletown, and then for backers B it was Keane Ledridge.
Vikings A3, backers A2.
Yeah, this is the Men's Premier League champions. Backers A suffering the first day defeat, which it'll be annoying for them, but I'm sure they'll bounce back from it. Really close game, half time 2-1, and it was Macklin Wilson, Alex Andrews and Scott Mason for Vikings A, and then for backers A it was Andy Whiting and Luca Pilato.
And the final game in the Men's Premier League, Harlequins A2, Valkyries A also 2.
Yeah, really good strong start there for Harlequins, newly promoted up to the Premier League, and they've shown that they're in this for the fight. Oren Blakemore and Ronan Santanatolio with goals each for Harlequins, and then for Valkyries it was Lewis Nova-Smith and Chris Thomas.
And in the Ladies Premier League, the early pushback at 12:30, Harlequins 8-0, Vikings A3.
Yeah, and again, Harlequins Ladies A promoted up to the Premier League last season, and a 3-0 loss is not a terrible result, I reckon, and they'll be happy with that. Vikings have been known to be really clinical, and they were today. From the message I've got, they just said their short corner routines were just superb and they just couldn't handle it. And it was Kim Carney with all 3 goals.
Castletown A0, Valkyries A3.
Yeah, this was the game we half covered on Saturday live with Paul. Yeah, really good game. Castletown had their chances, but then they could not finish them. But then Valkyries were really clinical going forward, and they punished Castletown with every mistake. Ellen Cleater, Eleanor Devereaux and Becky Plate, all with goals each.
And backers A3, Castletown B0.
And I was saying this to Tony, how weird is it? All 3 fixtures in the Ladies Premier League have all finished 3-0. Backers A, there, good result there. Castletown B, they put up a good fight from the messages we've had, but backers were just more clinical today. Emma Corty, Donna Harrison and Louise Corkle with goals each.
Moving on to Men's Division 1, Harlequins B0, Vikings C1.
Yeah, really close game. I played in this game this morning. It was really end-to-end, and Chris Hine come out on top with the winning goal, but a really good game end-to-end, and really good display by a Harlequins B team, which were full of very young youth and up-and-coming talent.
And Vikings B4, Castletown B1.
Yeah, good result there for Vikings B. They'll be definitely wanting to make sure that they're in the run for this promotion this season after missing out last season. Josh Wingles with 2, Alex Birch and Jacob Harding with goals each. And then for Castletown's consolation was Owen Kennedy.
And Balkires B3, another 3-0 coming up here at Ramsey A-0.
Yeah, Ramsey A, of course, relegated from the Men's Premier League last season and suffering an open day defeat, which has probably not gone the way they wanted it to. Valkyries, though, it was Neil Jacobs, Michael Deal and Ali Fipliano.
And moving on to Ladies Division 1, Backers B4, Backers C1.
Yeah, a good interclub derby there for the for Backers. The B team coming out on top, which is what you would expect, but we have seen it before where a C team has beaten their B team. Charlie Millwall with 2, Penny Webster and Leah Meller for Backers B. And for Backers C, it's great to see her back playing, Emma Whiting.
Okay, and Valkyries B1, Castletown C1.
Yeah, really close game. I caught the end of this game just before we came on to Paul, and it was really close end to end, and both teams having really good chances. For Valkyries, it was Ruby Buchanan, and for Castletown C, it was Danny Kelly.
And the later kickoff in Ladies Division 1, Vikings B4, Ramsey A4.
What a thriller that sounds. 4 each, unbelievable there. For Vikings, it was Jess Birch, Georgie Higgins, Kate Herrells and Eleanor Cayley. And then for Ramsey, it was Christina Kameen with 2, Lily Gale and Caitlin Burnett with 1. But an 8-goal thriller there sounds really good.
And moving on to Men's Division 2, more of the same. Ramsey B4, Valkyries C4.
Yeah, another 8-goal thriller. And the reports we got coming through from this game was it was so very tight. It just could not be split, and a draw was a fair result. Tom Howard with 2, Dan Cross and Richard Hyde with goals each for Ramsey. And then for Valkyries, it was Mike Fowles with 2, Jules Collies with 1, and Dan Ishmael with 1. Sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong there, but yeah.
And Backers Colts 3, Backers D2.
Yeah, the senior team Backers D giving their young Backers Colts team a run for their money there. Ollie Christian and Alex Stewart with 2 goals for Backers Colt. And then for Backers D, it was Jazz Sly and Dave Neal.
And moving on to Ladies Division 2, Valkyries C1, Castletown D5.
Yeah, really good result there for Castletown D, just what they'll be wanting. For Valkyries C, it was Ruby Buchanan again, playing in her second game of the day. She's got the Valkyries C consolation. And then for Castletown D, it was Sophie Python with 3, Lola Hornby Wheeler with 1, and Isla Cox with a goal each.
I believe is that the game the Valkyries finished the game with 10 players due to injury? Was that
yes,
that game as well? Yeah.
Yes, they've finished that game with 10 players due to a player injury, and also they were a bit short on availability this weekend. So a good result either way, but a shame that Valkyries ended finishing with just 10 players.
And second fixture in Ladies Division 2, Castletown E0, Vikings C0.
Yeah, nothing could be split between the two sides. Both captains have messaged saying really close game and honours even.
Okay, and Ramsey B2, Harlequins B2.
Yeah, really good game coming from the reports coming from that game. Again, another really close game and honours even. Beck Cowley, with a goal, and Becky Weimer with a goal for Ramsey. And then for Harlequins B, it was Molly Dennett and Laura Smith.
And we're moving on to the mixed under-15s league, the 11 o'clock pushback, Harlequins 7, Vikings 0.
Yes, good result there for Harlequins. Josh Halumbi with 1, Caleb Blakemore with 2, Addison Heaton with 1, and Tallulah Wilson with 1. And then the 4:30 result, the 4:30 game, which is Castletown Savers against Backers. That's currently still playing as it's just running slightly late. But I'm grateful to Hannah Leese, who has just messaged me to inform us that the latest score in that is Castletown Savers 1, Backers 3, and she said the best way to give a good result, give a report for the radio now, is it's a great game and lots of under-15s playing their first full pitch game, because of course in the junior league they only play half pitch.
Oh, so that's great to hear. So a good day all round, exciting day all round as you kick off the hockey season.
Absolutely, yeah. There's been some absolute thrillers there, really close matches, and what a cracking opening weekend of the 2024 men's and ladies fixtures.
All right, Ben, thank you very much for joining us. OK, then, let's talk FC Isle of Man. Rob Pritchard is down at the Bowl for us. FC Isle of Man taking on Charnock Richard this evening for a 6 o'clock kickoff. And I believe, Rob, you've got some team news down there.
We have indeed. Thank you, Simon. Yes, good evening and welcome to the Ball Stadium ahead of this NWCFL Premier Division clash between FC Isle of Man and Charnock Richard with kick-off in just under 18 minutes' time. We do indeed have the team news in for both sides. Let's start with the hosts, FC Isle of Man. In goal is number 1, Ben Wilkinson. Then it's number 2, Jack Higgins. Number 3, Jacob Crook. Number 4, Kyle Watson. Number 5, Alex Maitland. Number 6, Jamie Corlett. Number 7, Danny Gerrard. Number 8 and the captain, Frank Jones. Number 9, Sean Doyle. Number 10, Dean Pinnington. And number 11 is Dan Simpson. The substitutes tonight for FC Isle of Man are number 12, Michael Williams. Number 14, Phil Kelly. Number 15, Ronan McDonnell. Number 16, Owen Sherrod. Number 17 is Charlie Higgins. And for the visitors, Charnock Richard in goal is number 1, Connor Easton. And then it's number 2, Spencer Bibby. Number 3, Marcus Haydock. Number 4, Aaron Griffith. Number 5, Ross O'Farrell. Number 6, Ashley Young. Number 7, Jacob Ridings. Number 8 and the captain, Lewis Haydock. Number 9, Brad Carsley. Number 10, Rustam Stepans. And number 11 is Nathan Nikias. The substitutes for Charnock Richard, number 12, Jack Bennett. Number 14, Charles Duke. Number 15, Alexander Santos. Number 16, Fenton Davies. Number 17 is Kevin Spinelli. Your referee this evening is Joe Morrell. And his assistants are Liam Thomas and Rob Slinger. Well, FC Isle of Man had that torrid run to forget in December with 4 straight home defeats, but they brought all that to an end with the final game they had of 2023 with a 3-1 victory here over Burscough 7 days ago. And Paul Jones, the manager, he's been talking about application, desire and work rate to try and keep building upon those 3 points that they won last weekend, and they'll need all of that ability and all of that attitude up against a Charnock Richard side who are very much in form and have been riding the crest of a wave of positive results for just over 3 months now. This Charnock Richard side are unbeaten in their last 17 games in all competitions, winning 12 of those in that time. They also have a lot of ground to make up in the league as well. They've only played 20 games in the NWCFL Premier Division so far. That's due to cup commitments and also a handful of postponements. That means they've actually got 10 games in hand on the team that's played the most. That's Squires Gate with 30, so still plenty of points up for grabs for Charnock Richard going into the rest of the season. If they can continue this run of form that they've had in the league so far in the much fewer games they've been playing, they could find themselves challenging right towards the top. But a long way to go in this season as well. FC Isle of Man, they currently find themselves in mid-table, but they could climb as high as 8th and go up a few places today with a win tonight, depending on the results that have happened elsewhere in the league. FC Isle of Man might also be encouraged by the time that these two teams last met at the Bowl during last season in November. Goals from Tom Creer and Dan Simpson securing a 2-1 victory for the Ravens that night, getting revenge for what had happened in the reverse fixture in October 2022 when they were on the end of a comprehensive 5-1 defeat to this Charnock Richard side at Mossy Park. So FC Isle of Man, can they build on that final result of 2023 and make a winning start to 2024, or will Charnock Richard continue their excellent form to take back to Lancashire and possibly for the rest of the season? FC Isle of Man versus Charnock Richard kick-off tonight at 6 p.m. We'll be bringing full live match commentary and coverage from just before 6 p.m. myself and Tony Mepham on Manx Radio, DAB and AM 1368. Things building up nicely here. Back to you in the studio for the meantime, Simon.
Great, thank you very much. Rob Pritchard looking ahead to that FC Isle of Man game at the Bowl this evening, as he mentioned. Live coverage of that to come this evening. That's pretty much it for Saturday Sport Classified this week. Thank you very much to everybody who has managed to get results through to us. I know it's not been the ideal Saturday afternoon with these issues we've had with mobiles and 4G data, but I think we more or less got there with all of those results. So thank you for everyone who's sent us messages or emailed our pundits directly or messaged our pundits directly to get all that information together. Don't forget the programme will shortly be available as a podcast at manxradio.com and your usual podcast provider as well. And Rob will be back next Friday evening from 6 o'clock with the Friday Sport Previews. We look forward to the second weekend of sporting action here on the Isle of Man. I've been Simon Quine. We'll hand you back briefly to Christy DeHaven on Manx Radio's FM service before Rob joins us again with commentary from FC Isle of Man against against Charnock Richard at the Bowl.
Manx Radio Sport.